Hey, let's take a trip down memory lane and revisit Speed Machines, the PlayStation 1 racing game that flew under the radar back in 2003. From our 2025 perspective, how does this budget title hold up? Is it a hidden gem or a relic of the past that's best left in the dust? Speed Machines is a bit of a latecomer to the PS1's racing scene, developed and published by Midas Interactive, a studio known for churning out budget titles. The game promises the thrill of acceleration and tarmac skimming action, and it delivers in a straightforward arcade-style way. The selection of vehicles and tracks is modest, but it's designed to be accessible, not complex. So, does it still have what it takes to stand out in a console era dominated by giants like Gran Turismo and Need for Speed? The gameplay is a mixed bag. The controls are responsive, but the lack of analog stick support feels like a missed opportunity. The AI is competent but predictable. But there's a certain charm to blasting through tracks on a superbike, dodging obstacles with split-second timing. It's like a shot of pure, unfiltered adrenaline from a bygone era. Visually, Speed Machines is quintessentially PS1. Low-poly models, jagged textures, and a limited draw distance scream late 90s, early 2000s tech. Compared to the jaw-dropping visuals of Gran Turismo 2 or the stylized flair of Wipeout, Speed Machines looks rough. But there's something endearing about its raw, unpolished aesthetic, like admiring a pixelated painting. The soundtrack is a curious mix of techno and rock, typical of budget racers from the era. It's not as iconic as Wipeout's thumping EDM or Need for Speed's curated bangers, but it gets the job done. The sound effects, however, are a weak point. Engine roars and tire screeches feel tinny compared to the meaty audio of Colin McRae Rally. In 2025, the audio holds up as a nostalgic curiosity, but lacks the polish to compete with modern racers like Forza Horizon or even the remastered classics on PS5. So, how does Speed Machines stack up against its PS1 racing rivals? Gran Turismo 2 set the gold standard for realism, with over 600 cars and meticulous physics that still impress in 2025. Speed Machines can't touch that level of depth, but it offers a quicker, more accessible thrill. Need for Speed High Stakes brought cinematic police chases and a killer soundtrack, outshining Speed Machines in polish and replayability. Meanwhile, Micro Machines V3 nailed chaotic, top-down racing with tight multiplayer, something Speed Machines' limited multiplayer mode struggles to match. Even Wipeout feels more innovative, thanks to its bold vision and iconic music. Speed Machines' closest cousin might be Circuit Breakers, another arcade racer with a focus on fun over realism. Both share a pick-up-and-play vibe, but Circuit Breaker's 4-player support and tighter track design give it an edge. Speed Machines tries to carve its niche with its vehicle variety, but it lacks the content depth or innovation to stand toe-to-toe with the PS1's heavy hitters. Looking at Speed Machines through a 2025 lens, it's a time capsule of the PS1's twilight years. The gaming landscape has shifted dramatically. Modern racers like Need for Speed Unbound offer open-world freedom, stunning visuals, and deep customization, while titles like EA Sports WRC push simulation to new heights. Speed Machines feels quaint by comparison, lacking the scope or polish to compete with today's standards, yet there's something endearing about its simplicity. In an era where games demand hours of grinding or microtransactions, Speed Machines' straightforward race-and-win loop is refreshing, like firing up an old arcade cabinet. For collectors or retro enthusiasts, Speed Machines is a curiosity worth revisiting, especially if you're chasing that late PS1 vibe. It's not a must-play like Gran Turismo, but it captures the scrappy spirit of budget titles that filled the PS1's library. Pair it with a CRT TV and a classic DualShock, and you're in for a nostalgic joyride. Just don't expect it to keep pace with the genre's legends. Speed Machines is a scrappy underdog in the PS1's racing lineup. It's fast, it's fun, and it's got just enough charm to make you smile, but its lack of depth, dated visuals, and bare-bones features hold it back from greatness. Compared to Gran Turismo's precision, Need for Speed swagger, or Wipeout's futuristic flair, it's a middle-of-the-pack racer that's more lovable for its quirks than its quality. In 2025, it's a nostalgic detour for retro fans or a quirky addition to your YouTube deep dive, but don't expect it to steal the podium. Strap in, enjoy the ride, and let's keep the PS1 love alive. Thanks for watching.